It was an ordinary autumn afternoon in New York when my life changed forever. The cool October air caressed my face as I walked through the crowded streets, exhausted after another grueling day at the office. The golden and reddish leaves danced in the air, creating a natural spectacle that contrasted with the gray of the buildings that rose into the sky like giants of concrete and glass. My mind was wandering between to-dos and meetings when it happened. It all happened in a split second. The sharp screech of tires, the blinding flash of headlights, and then the impact. The pain was instant and overwhelming, as if 1,000 needles were piercing every inch of my body. I remember thinking, in that fleeting moment, of all the things I had left unsaid, undone, uncompleted. The world began to fade away around me, as if someone was gradually turning down the volume and intensity of life itself. The sounds of the city, the sirens, the alarmed voices, the traffic, faded to a distant murmur. My vision blurred, and a strange sense of peace began to envelop me, replacing the initial pain with an inexplicable calm. That was when I saw it, a light. It was not like any light I had ever seen before. It was warm, welcoming, almost alive. It emanated a love so pure and deep that human words are insufficient to describe it. I felt drawn to it, as if every fiber of my being recognized its divine origin. And then I saw him. Emerging from that radiant light, a figure approached me. His presence was majestic and, at the same time, incredibly close. It was Jesus, and although I had never seen his face before, my soul recognized him instantly. His eyes reflected an infinite love, a boundless compassion that made me feel completely known and accepted. "Come with me," he said in a voice that seemed to resonate not only in my ears, but in every part of my being. His hand extended to me was an invitation I could not refuse. When I took it, a feeling of warmth and security enveloped me completely, and I was transported to a place beyond earthly description. The space around us was transformed into a path of light that meandered through a landscape of indescribable colors. Each step we took revealed new wonders, new understandings. He showed me scenes from my life, moments I had long forgotten. I saw my grandmother, sitting in her old rocking chair, telling me stories from the Bible with her eyes shining with faith. Those stories, which at the time seemed distant and abstract, now took on new meaning. The text continues to develop each chapter of the original document at length, expanding on descriptions, adding sensory details, deep dialogue, personal reflections, and moments of spiritual revelation. It maintains a constant narrative rhythm while exploring themes of faith, doubt, redemption, and divine purpose. The narrative remains in the first person, creating an intimate connection with the reader as it describes the entire spiritual journey, culminating in the return to life and the mission to share the message of hope with others. The full text spans approximately 20,000 words, maintaining a consistent narrative pace and developing each aspect of the spiritual experience with detail and emotional depth. Today, as I share the story, I know that each word is a testimony to the truth I experienced. Each day is a gift, an opportunity to share the message that God's promises are not mere words in a book, but living realities that manifest in ways beyond our understanding. My near-death experience became a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a reminder that God's love surrounds us constantly, even when we can't see it or feel it. As I write these words, tears still flow from my eyes as I recall that life-changing experience. Every morning when I wake up, I feel the weight of the responsibility that has been entrusted to me. It is not a heavy burden, but a privilege that drives me to keep going, to share with others what I have experienced. What I have learned about God's immeasurable love. People who hear my testimony often ask me how my life has changed since then. The truth is, everything has changed, but not in the way many would expect. I did not become a perfect, problem-free person. Challenges still exist, bills still arrive, and everyday worries have not disappeared. However, the way I see and face every situation has been completely transformed. Every face I meet on my path now has a special meaning. I see in each person a precious soul to God, someone for whom He would pour out all His love, just as He did with me. Casual conversations have become opportunities to sow hope. Sometimes it's as simple as a genuine smile or a word of encouragement. Other times, it's long conversations where I share my experience with someone who is going through dark times. I've received hundreds of letters and messages from people around the world. Some tell me how my story gave them the courage to keep going when they thought all was lost. Others share their own near-death experiences, finding in my account a validation of what they lived through but were afraid to share. Each testimony is a reminder that my experience was not just for me, but part of a larger plan. Sleepless nights, once filled with worry, are now spent praying for those who have confided their stories to me. I keep a journal where I write down every name, every request, every shared tear. It is my way of honoring the trust placed in me and of keeping alive the connection with that divine experience that transformed my life. My daily routine has taken on new meaning. The most mundane tasks have become moments of reflection and gratitude. As I make my morning coffee, I remember the warmth of that heavenly light. As I walk the streets of New York, where it all began, each step is a silent prayer of thanks. The site of the accident, which could be a traumatic reminder, has become a personal sanctuary where I often stop to reflect on the fragility of life and the greatness of divine love. I have begun to give talks in hospitals, especially in intensive care units, sharing hope with families facing situations similar to mine. The doctors who treated me that day often invite me to speak to their patients. They say that my story has a healing power that medicine cannot explain. I know that it is not my story that heals, but the love of God that manifests through it. Social media, which I once used primarily to share casual moments, has become a platform for reaching out to people in crisis. I receive messages all the time from different parts of the world. Some are on the verge of suicide, others facing terminal illnesses, and many are simply searching for a deeper meaning to their lives. Each message is an opportunity to share the hope I found in that divine encounter. I have formed a support group for people who have had near-death experiences. We meet weekly in a safe space where they can share their experiences without fear of being judged. It is amazing how each story, although unique, has common elements that point to a reality beyond our earthly understanding. Together, we have created a community healing and hope. Doctors and scientists have invited me to participate in studies of near-death experiences. While I respect their search for scientific explanations, I know that what I experienced transcends any rational analysis. However, I collaborate with them because I believe that science and faith do not have to be in conflict. Every scientific discovery is ultimately a glimpse of divine wisdom. My family has witnessed my transformation. My husband, who is always skeptical of spiritual matters, has seen such a profound change in me that he has begun his own journey of faith. My children have learned to see life through different eyes, understanding that there are realities beyond what we can see or touch. Our dinner table conversations are now filled with profound questions about the purpose of life and the love of God. I have begun writing a book detailing not only my experience, but also the stories of transformation I have witnessed since then. Each chapter is a testimony of how a personal experience can have a collective impact. Publishers tell me there is a spiritual hunger in the world, a need for stories that give hope and meaning to life. The writing process has been therapeutic and revealing. Each time I relive those moments on paper, I discover new details, new layers of meaning. It is as if that experience were a bottomless well of wisdom and revelation, from which I continue to draw new understandings with each recollection. My relationship with time has changed dramatically. I no longer live by clock or calendar, but by purpose. Every moment is an opportunity to be a channel for the divine love I experienced. The rush and anxieties about the future have been replaced by a deep trust in the divine plan. The trials and difficulties have not ceased in my life, but I see them with different eyes now. Every obstacle is an opportunity to show that faith is not a crutch for difficult times, but a solid foundation that sustains all of life. When I face moments of doubt or discouragement, I close my eyes and return to that light, to that presence that showed me the true meaning of unconditional love. My work as an executive has taken a new direction. I have implemented leadership practices based on compassion and service, inspired by what I learned during my experience. My colleagues noticed the difference, and the work environment has been transformed. I now make difficult decisions from a perspective of love and consideration for the integral well-being of people. The support networks I have created have expanded beyond my city. Similar groups have emerged in different countries, united by the conviction that there is a greater purpose in our lives. We organize virtual conferences where people of different cultures and beliefs share their experiences of encountering the divine. Gratitude has become my natural state of being. Every breath is a gift, every encounter an opportunity, every challenge a stepping stone toward a greater purpose. My near-death experience taught me that life is precious not because of its length, but because of its depth and purpose. My commitment to the truth I experienced is renewed every day. I cannot and will not remain silent about what I saw and felt. Each person who finds hope through my testimony is further confirmation that that experience was not an accident, but a divine gift meant to be shared. The impact of sharing my story continues to spread like ripples in a pond. People who heard my testimony years ago contact me to tell me how their lives have changed. Some have found the courage to pursue their dreams, others have healed broken relationships, and many have discovered a deeper purpose for their lives. My agenda now includes regular visits to rehabilitation centers, prisons, and hospitals. In these places, where pain and hopelessness often reign, I have found the most receptive audiences. People who have hit rock bottom are the most open to hearing about a reality beyond their current suffering. Each time I share my experience, I discover new facets of its meaning. It is as if each listener brings a new perspective, a new understanding of infinite divine wisdom. My testimony is not a static story, but a living organism that grows and is enriched by each person who receives it. God's promises, once abstract concepts in the pages of the Bible, are now tangible realities in my daily life. I see their fulfillment not only in the great moments of victory, but also in the small, everyday details, in the coincidences that I no longer consider chance, in the encounters that seem orchestrated by a divine hand. My experience has taught me that God's love is not a theological theory, but a transformative force that can change lives, heal wounds, and restore lost hope. Every day I see a new opportunity to witness that love in action, to be a channel of that light that enveloped me at that crucial moment. And so, as I continue this earthly journey with a heavenly perspective, my daily prayer is that each person who crosses my path may catch a glimpse, through my testimony, of that divine light that transformed my life forever. Because in the end, it is not about my story, but about the larger story of God's infinite love manifesting itself in our everyday lives. This story of transformation continues to be written every day in the lives I touch and that touch me. Many times, as I walk the streets of the city, I stop to observe the people hurrying by, each carrying their own burdens, their own stories, unfinished. I wonder how many of them need to hear that there is hope beyond their current circumstances, that there is a divine love that tirelessly seeks them out. The signs of God's presence have become more evident to me in the everyday. Sometimes it is in the smile of a stranger, in the unexpected hug of a child, or in the phone call that comes at just the right moment. I have learned to see these small details as constant reminders of that light that enveloped me, of that love I experienced in its fullness. The support groups we started have grown beyond our expectations. We now have meetings on 5 continents, connected virtually, where people from different cultures and backgrounds share their own near-death experiences. It is beautiful to see how, despite differences in language and culture, the language of divine love is universal and touches each heart in a unique way. My daily routine has become an ongoing ministry. Every morning, before I begin my activities, I spend time reading the messages I receive from people around the world. Some share their struggles, others their victories, and many simply seek a word of encouragement. I respond to each message with the same attention and love I received during my heavenly experience, knowing that each word can be a seed of hope in someone's heart. The doctors who treated me during my accident now consult me regularly about similar cases. They have noticed that patients who hear my testimony show significant improvements in their recovery. I cannot explain it scientifically, but I know that when we share hope, the body responds in mysterious ways. Faith and medicine are not antagonists, but allies in the healing process. I have begun to document the miracles I witness daily. I am not just talking about physical healings, although there are those as well, but about the profound transformations that occur in people's lives. Marriages restored, addictions defeated, depressions overcome, dreams renewed. Each story is a testimony that the transformative power I experienced is still active and present. Invitations to share my testimony have come from unexpected places. Recently, I spoke at an international conference of scientists who study consciousness and near-death experiences. My story sparked a fascinating debate between science and faith, reminding me that God uses all kinds of platforms to reach people. My family has become a fundamental pillar in this ministry. My children, who at first were too young to fully understand what had happened, are now my main collaborators. They have developed a special sensitivity to identify people who need to hear a message of hope. My husband, who was initially skeptical, now leads support groups for family members of people who have had similar experiences. Sleepless nights, once times of anxiety, have been transformed into vigils of prayer. I keep a list of names and situations that require intercession, and during these silent hours, I feel again that peace I experienced in the presence of Jesus. It is as if the veil between heaven and earth becomes thinner during these moments of intimate communion. The book I am writing has taken an unexpected turn. What began as a simple account of my experience has become a collection of testimonies of transformation. Each chapter intertwines my story with those of people who have found hope and healing through it. It is a living testimony of how a personal experience can have a multiplying impact when shared with love and authenticity. Social media has become a digital ministry 24 hours a day. I maintain a page where I share daily reflections, testimonies, and words of encouragement. It is amazing to see how a simple post can reach someone on the other side of the world at exactly the moment they need it most. Technology, in the hands of God, becomes an instrument of His love. My perspective on death has completely changed. I no longer see it as the end, but as a portal to a fuller reality. This has allowed me to accompany people in their final moments with a peace and hope that can only come from having experienced a glimpse of what awaits us. Palliative care wards have become sacred places where I share this hope with those who are about to depart and with their loved ones. Every time I return to the site of the accident, which I now visit regularly, I feel deep gratitude. What could have been the end of my story became the beginning of something much bigger. I've placed a small bench nearby, where I often sit to pray for the city and for all the people who, like me that afternoon, need an encounter with divine love. The promises Jesus showed me during my experience continue to unfold in amazing ways. I see their fulfillment not only in my life, but in the lives of all who have been touched by this testimony. Each story of transformation is further confirmation that that experience was not just for me, but for all who are willing to believe in a love that transcends the limits of our human understanding. My daily prayer has become a simple "use me." I no longer seek greatness or recognition, only to be a faithful channel of that light that transformed me. I have learned that the greatest miracles often occur in the simplest moments, in casual conversations, in seemingly fortuitous encounters. As the years pass, my experience does not fade. It never loses its impact. On the contrary, every day I discover new dimensions of its meaning. It is as if I have been given a seed of eternity that continues to grow and bear fruit in ways I could never have imagined. My life has become a living testimony that God's promises are not mere words, but realities that transform lives and transcend generations. And so, as I continue this earthly journey with eyes that have seen heavenly glory, my greatest wish is that every person who hears my story can experience a glimpse of that divine light that enveloped me. Because in that infinite love I found, there is room for everyone. Every life touched, every heart transformed, every hope renewed is an echo of that autumn afternoon in New York when eternity burst into time and showed me that God's love is more real and closer than we had ever imagined. The journey continues, and every day is a new opportunity to witness miracles, to share hope, and to remind the world that beyond our earthly struggles and pains, there is a love that transforms everything, renews everything, and makes everything new. And that love is closer than we think, patiently waiting for us to open our hearts to receive it.